What's up, Ragin Nation? My name is Alex and you're watching the Ragin Ronin review. And in the last video, I did a reaction for the Total Recall teaser, and let's talk about it. I want to do a review of the teaser trailer. For those that don't know, Total Recall is actually the remake of a movie that came out in 1990 of the same name, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sharon Stone, Michael Ironside, to name a few actors. And also, it is directed by Paul Verhoeven, who directed RoboCop and Starship Troopers. It is also based off a short story from Philip K. Dick called We'll Remember It For You Wholesale. And the story really is about a guy who is not satisfied with his life. He thinks it's kind of mundane, day in, day out. It's pretty routine, so he decides to go to this agency which sells memories, or dreams rather. Well, a little bit of both. And then afterwards, he starts remembering things about his past, and that's when it starts getting exciting. And if you haven't seen the original 1990 film, you should check it out. It is a sci-fi classic, and I suggest that you check it out before you check out the remake, because that way you can really see some comparisons, because obviously in 1990s, the visual effects are not what they are now, because they have all these limitations of what they can do, but for its time it is still an amazing film. It's got great story and great characters. Anyways, with regards to the Total Recall remake teaser trailer, it looks amazing. It just looks so action-packed, and that's what a teaser trailer does. It reels you in, especially for people who haven't seen it before. It's just full of action, and it just makes you think that, holy crap. It just makes you think, holy crap. This movie's so action-packed that I don't even know what it's about, but I'm gonna check it out. There was this one scene where Colin Farrell was just looking over this balcony, and you see what Earth looks like in the future, and that scene was actually really breathtaking. I was hoping that it would go on for longer, but of course it was a teaser trailer. And one of the things that I noticed was that they had buildings that were in the sky, and I'm pretty sure they were attached to another building, but that scene just looks so cool, because when you look up, you don't see, you know, blue skies or anything like that, no clouds. You see buildings which are in the sky, and of course flying cars. And another thing I noticed about the flying cars was that the flying cars actually fly close to the ceiling, or the bottom of the buildings rather. It looks like they fly parallel with these buildings, so that's kind of interesting. I wonder what that's all about. Now, when I first heard about Total Recall being remade, I was feeling that this is one of those movies that shouldn't be remade, just like RoboCop, because it's a sci-fi classic. It's a story that you can't improve upon. But after I found out that Len Wiseman was directing it, I actually got a little bit excited, because I like Len Wiseman. He directed Live Free or Die Hard, which was a great action-packed film, even though it was watered down for a PG-13 rating. And of course you got the first two Underworld movies, and those are some pretty decent action movies. There's really nothing that spectacular about the Underworld movies, but they're consistent, and that's what I love about Len Wiseman's directing. He's very consistent in keeping us interested in the story with the visuals. So obviously Total Recall is going to have some pretty amazing visuals, and you can tell from this teaser. Another thing that I noticed was that John Cho looks really cool in that scene where he plays the I guess the owner or manager of the place that sells dreams, but he gets taken out right away. And you know that when you watch him later on, he will get taken out. So I was just thinking, oh my god, that's typical Hollywood. Another thing that I found was really cool was that they used that virtual cinematography effect. And virtual cinematography actually originated from The Matrix Reloaded in the courtyard fight with the 100 Agent Smiths. Because what they did was that they made it so that you can put the camera anywhere you want. And even though it's physically impossible to make the camera move like that. So that's what virtual cinematography is, and that's what they did in this fight where Colin Farrell faces off against these soldiers. One thing I'm looking forward to is that I really can't wait to see Jessica Biel and Kate Beckinsale kick ass. Because the last time I remembered a really good female-on-female fight scene was Daryl Hannah and Uma Thurman in Kill Bill Volume 2, and also in Mission Impossible 4 where Paula Patton went up against that other actress, and it was just really vicious. And I'm pretty sure with Kate Beckinsale's action background and Jessica Biel, she's kind of like rough, you know, I think that can make a pretty badass fight, so that's something to look forward to. Now, I heard a lot of people actually say that the story in Total Recall, the remake this year, is actually different from the 1990 version. What I also heard was that Philip K. Dick was not happy about all the changes that were made in the film adaptation by Paul Verhoeven. What I heard was that Len Wiseman's version is not actually based off the Total Recall film directed by Paul Verhoeven. It's actually more faithful to the Philip K. Dick original short story. The Paul Verhoeven version, like I said, was not faithful to the story. It just took the concept and the characters, and Paul Verhoeven made his own version of it. But Len Wiseman is actually staying more true to the original short story. And that actually makes me want to watch it more, just because it's not the exact same story as the Paul Verhoeven version. And to top things off, it doesn't bother me whether it's an R rating or a PG-13 rating. Paul Verhoeven giving it an R rating was just something that he wanted to do, because Paul Verhoeven, like I said, makes very violent movies. But Len Wiseman, on the other hand, I think he's gonna make a more high-concept sci-fi thriller. I'm pretty positive it won't be about the level of violence in the movie. So with that being said, you can expect the Total Recall directed by Len Wiseman to be different from the Paul Verhoeven version, and I don't have a problem with that. It also means that there's a possibility that there won't be a three-boobed alien, or mutant rather. Actually, I wasn't sure if she was an alien or a mutant. I think she's a mutant because I guess in Total Recall, the radiation or emissions from being in Mars mutated the humans. I can't remember. I haven't seen the movie in a while. I actually have the special collector's edition DVD in the tin can. You know, the tin Mars thing. But anyways, I gotta watch it again. It's a really good story. But what I want to ask you guys is, how do you feel about the movie not being based off of the Paul Verhoeven classic? Here's what I think is gonna happen. It's gonna get a PG-13 rating. The story is obviously a little different. It won't be about Mars. There's not going to be a three-boobed alien. And that's that. Let me know how you feel about it in the comment section below. For me, I'm looking forward to it. It looks cool as hell, and I'm going to treat it like a standalone movie. And I suggest everybody watch it with an open mind. And for those who have never watched Total Recall before, watch it. Watch the original film that came out in 1990. It feels a little dated just because of the effects, but it still has a great story with great characters. My name is Alex Yoon. Thanks for watching the Ragin Ronin review. I'll see you next time. Peace.